interesting build-up.
Yep.
Almost not knowing two-thirds of the opposition, how they're going to make up. How was that challenge for you guys?
Yeah, they're tricky games. I've been involved in a number of those where, particularly at junior level, where you have players come in from different clubs or different parts of the state. The challenge for us was to play at a level that we felt we needed to come away with the game. We're in front for, all but a small portion of the game, and we were reasonably satisfied with some of the areas that we hit today. And it's just tricky. And look, credit to Simo and the guys. I couldn't imagine, the scramble that they've had in that previous 48 hours to be able to coordinate that group, identify players, bring them along, as you said, introduce them, late to some of their players. So credit to those guys. But yeah, look, to our guys, they stuck in there. It's the second week in a row we've put a gap in an opposition. And yeah, today we learned from last week and we held on to it.
Is this a game, you're in hiding enough and you can't really win unless you win this by about 10 goals, can you, given the kind of build-up and the expectation, certainly in the media?
Well, I think you're I think that's a bit disrespectful to some of the players that have come in for the opposition, to be honest. Yeah. Black's won a Sandover medal, played over 200 games. He's a very good player that just unfortunately hasn't had an opportunity. And there's 22 players that are trying to stop us from scoring. I don't know why there's all of a sudden just an expectation that we should win this game by X amount. We needed to win this game. We needed to go to work. There were some things that we didn't get right, but yeah, there were a lot that we got right and got better than last week.
Well, I suppose that public expectation.
Yeah, I understand it.
Fact, you understand why it's there.
Of course I do. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it's interesting in that dynamic. It's a difficult space to then assess. We missed some set shots. Again, we had some pieces around being ill-disciplined at certain points of the game, which is really frustrating, from a player and a coach, expectation. But then again, I thought there were some really strong highlights, like Nick Larkey up forward. I thought he was terrific. Tristan Cherry in the ruck continues to improve. I thought Goldie played a great game in through that. Bailey Scott off the half-back, and heaven forbid you forget about Hugh Greenwood in the midfield. I thought his game was outstanding. So I thought we got some pieces right. But I understand, Michael, the question around the expectation. I get that, but they did had some players in that team today. I think they still had 6 premiership players. They still had some dangerous forwards. They still had a couple of guys down back that intercept the ball pretty well.
Can you expand on Larkey a little bit? Obviously 6 goals is great. What did he do in his performance that impressed you?
I think he's the benefit of some better system up forward as well. So I think it's not just, I think the forwards operate that it's not just the goals that Nick kicks, it's how they function as a team. So I think there was a lot of times there where the extra tall helps him. I think Cam's movement, helps activate another defender that sometimes could go and drop off a bit earlier. But I think Nick's gone to work over the pre-season. I think he's a bit stronger, a bit fitter. We know that, he had a really good finish, particularly last year of the year, and he's, I think between Heath Uni and Tom Lynch have helped him with his forward craft a lot. And I think his movement's sharper and a little bit more dynamic at the moment.
How bad are the injuries to Luke and Tarrant?
Yeah, not sure about Taz. Not sure where that sits. I haven't had an update from our medicos yet, but certainly Luke will follow the protocols. Pretty reasonable effort for our guys to lose 2 midfielders and then continue to sort of cycle through there as well. So that was another good sign. I thought losing 2 guys that we sort of rely on a lot, probably in that outside balance space as well to be able to spread the ground. But yeah, I think I'm not sure about Taz. Luke will follow the 12 days.
Has Tarrant gone to hospital? We're hearing reports that he may have.
Yeah, he has. But again, I'm sorry I haven't got an update. I haven't spoken to the docs. Yeah. They were in giving a couple of our guys some stitches in their eyebrows as I came in. So.
Was Luke's actually hitting his head on the turf in the tackle?
I think so. Yeah, I think he's got a bit of a graze on his face. So I think that's what ended up happening. But I didn't have a look at the review. We were trying to then work out where the rotations were going to go. So not sure.
Hall Francis.
Yep.
How'd you rate his game and how have you seen his sort of development over this first couple of weeks? So
yeah, he continues to build. He's he's so clean, around the ball. Happy to put his body on the line. I thought there were a couple of times he nearly sort of got out of that stoppage, structure to release the ball. But I've been really pleased with what he's done in his first couple of weeks. I think he looks like he's settled into the level, the speed, really comfortably. So I think our fans can be excited to look forward to what he and the rest of that midfield group might be able to pull together in the next 12 months.
Are you increasing his midfield time week on week, or how
We-
quickly will that?
Yeah, good question. We did today on the necessity with the rotations. We got a bit greedy and said, in you go. So, and he's okay with that. So I think just based on the fact that we didn't have Taz and Luke, we just those guys had to pick up a bit extra in that space.
You mentioned obviously how well Sherry and Goldstein played.
Yep.
Does that sort of make the challenge for Colin Jones even hard to get back in, or does it almost present itself as a good challenge for him to really push back?
Good challenge, I think. I probably saw that over the pre-season with all those three guys challenging for those couple of spots. So, I think it's more of a challenge. I spoke to CJ, going back this week, put him in the ruck. The VFL guys are playing now. So he's got to get up to speed and put some pressure on those two guys for sure.
You were always in front,
Yep.
pretty much all game. It became a tight affair in that last quarter. Did you feel at any stage, we're going to let this slip away, or did you feel you always had it in control, that sort of three goal, 2 goal margin was going to be sufficient?
Probably felt that our structure in the back end was holding its shape really well. So we probably felt that we had some security with the way that the ball was probably rebounding. The third quarter where we couldn't get it out was probably more of the concern of being able to exit the ball. Eagles had a really good structure in place in that particular portion of the game. I don't know that you ever sit there comfortably and think, I think we've got this one. I don't think that ever goes through our mind. We're always trying to look at where do we lose that stoppage, how can we increase our ball movement, where do we need to score the next goal from, what's the rotation. So we probably didn't stop for too much to think that we had it in control, but I think the way our back end was playing and had the ball in our front half gave us a bit of comfort.
And did Kyron use listed as having an illness? What was the issue there?
Yeah, I just had a bit of gastro overnight.
Yeah.
So we got not an early call, but a call from the doc a couple of hours before the game. It's not always the one that you're hoping to get. It's not like she's ringing to say we've got an extra player available. So we just simply made the call. Powell came into the team and Aiden came in as the sub. So I was, the other thing on a side note, I was exceptionally pleased for our fans today. It's been 2019 since we've had a win here, and for our fans to finally get back, see us have a win, albeit not a pretty one, but 4 points on the board is not only important for our fans to come and celebrate with us, but it's also important nourishment for our players. We shouldn't underestimate the fact that we won today, and our players get a sense of having to grind a game out. Whether or not we should have or shouldn't have won by more is a little bit irrelevant. We won the game. It's a great experience for those, but it's a great celebration for our fans to actually come back to the ground here and see us win.
After Gabba next week?
Yep.
How big is that test?
Yeah, well, Gabba's a big one. Going to Perth, going to Adelaide, and now going to Gabba. They've established that as a fortress up there over the last 3 or 4 years. Only lost a handful of games, I think, at home. So, yeah, it's a challenge. We'll have to recover, get ourselves back, see where a couple of our injured guys are, and reset ourselves to go up there.
You touched on before Hugh Greenwood and how important he was today as well.
Yep.
How important to have a player like him in the change room? Obviously, you brought him in this year, and the way he's played today and round one, it's good to have him around.
Yeah, it is, particularly with Jai feeling like he probably feels like he takes a fair bit of the load and the leadership in there. So to have someone like Hugh that can share that, can help your stoppages. Hugh's on-field leadership is exceptional, really good at helping shape the stoppage structure, who's going where, what roles you're playing, and then on a day where you need to grind it out, he's the sort of guy you want in your trenches with you. So, there's no doubt that I thought he had an exceptional day today. All good. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.